I know it's so unique. The amount of misspellings I've had of my name.
I'm sure it's not just cause.
I really don't care.
People call me Brant Spencer.
Brant.
Well, there was like a guy named that in the county. So they just.
That would
Oh,
be
it's a
interesting.
chiropractor. Chiropractor.
What the heck? Wow. Wait, where is he?
Oklahoma.
First name Brant.
Oklahoma.
Second name Stan. They're really-
I have family in Oklahoma.
Blanchard, Oklahoma.
Wherever the college town for Oklahoma State is, I have family that live there. But that wouldn't really make sense because their last name is different.
Yes.
Could be hiding his identity, Spencer.
Not very well.
Not very well, but he's trying.
It's like, I'll just switch it up, we'll switch it around, they'll be none the wiser.
Just throw that one out there. I thought you were bringing your own chair.
No, I was so sure Kirsten was gonna show up for the committee organizational meeting. She and I were the people who were like, let's do it for next time. So then she didn't show up.
I'll take the fancy.
We have YouTube and all that. Yeah, YouTube's all connected, right, Jim?
For the speaker. Guess what?
There you go. Test run. Test pilot.
Good.
The YouTube's all ready too?
Yeah, sorry.
You think these are bad? You used to have these green chairs. Kind of like that. But they had like hats written that were like staples, I guess, that were keeping the upholstery to the wooden part of the chair, and sometimes you put your foot there or like your hand there, and it poke you.
Are you talking about the old chairs?
Those were so like it's crazy. You guys look like I ruined.
Yeah. I don't know why we didn't use these chairs. We had these chairs out that time.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's lumping in those chairs you have in junior high school that are like hard plastic, remember those things?
I miss those. Oh, nostalgic.
Come on, it was 1972 for me.
Yeah, those chairs are pretty old then.
I'm not sure that IVCSD are like. Those were just very like above the average size.
The overflowing one.
The ones with the little desk comes on.
Yeah.
Oh, those are the worst.
All right, are we all ready? Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. I'd like to announce that the meeting is being recorded. May I have a roll call?
Director Aguilar,
Here.
Topliff.
Here.
Brant. Here. Freeman.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Schultz.
Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Chumash people who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to the Chumash elders, past, present, and future, who call this place Anaskoyo, the land that Isla Vista sits upon, their home. We are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Chumash community for their stewardship and look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and now I'd like to move on to the consent agenda. Is there any?
Quick edit, lighting agreement is still not ready yet, so we'll have to pull that again.
Okay. Is there any motions or questions on the remaining consent items? Director Brandt.
I move approval of the balance of the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have the motion by Brandt and the second by Craig. Is there any public comment on this motion? I see no public comment on this motion. All directors who are in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. And this motion passes 6-0-0-1. Now I'd like to move on to the public comment period. At this time, any member of the public may speak on matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board of directors that are not on the agenda. The board will not take action on any item not on the agenda except as provided by law. Yes, public comment.
Yes. Should I just say it from here?
Sure. Just please share your name with us.
I'm Ash, and I just wanted to update you all that I've been working with some people in the community to try to bring like a warming and cooling shelter situation. Currently, there's one downtown, which isn't really adequate for IV. First of all, why would you go into the floodplain when you're already on a plateau? And it's too far for a lot of people, and they end up just staying here even when there's a prolonged storm. So. And there used to be options in IV, but there hasn't been in the past few years. So we don't have a complete proposal ready, but we're working on it. We've been a few people who like help with local meals and mutual aid stuff are trying to work together to get something proposed officially, hopefully soon. And we'll try to make it, not too much of a burden on your staff and like have people who will staff it and stuff like that.
All right. Thank you for that public comment. Is there any other public comments time? Yes.
Well, director, staff, public, my name's Henry Soria. I'll only be here for public comment. Tonight is my 9th wedding anniversary. So one of the things I want to bring up was we have great programs at CSD. We have the Compost Collective and we have Ivy Beautiful. And you do a fantastic job. Ivy Beautiful's been doing great with the garbage disposal, the graffiti abatement. Compost Collective has been doing the mulching with planters and stuff, beautifying all this. So they're great programs and they're working. But one of the things that really I think needs to be addressed is some of the other issues, and I would list like abandoned bikes and stuff like that. And I brought this one up many times, but that's not what I want to bring up the issue. What I want to bring up is a way to possibly fix this. And I was thinking the CSD may want to consider having its own, for Isla Vista, its own public works department. The funding is there, the personnel is there. You can get anybody to do it, even me. Some of it may even be on volunteer basis. There's a lot of stuff that I go around town and I notice, like Jonathan received a couple of emails from me about there was a missing meter cover. Somebody could have tripped over that. That's a liability issue. Last thing the county needs is another multi-million-dollar lawsuit. There was a sidewalk curb that was coming up. So I think having a public works type of department or committee or something could be beneficial to the community to prevent potential injury. There's been a lot of other issues too, and also to fix certain issues. If you get someone that's capable of doing these things, you can accomplish this with very basic tools, very little training, and just also another thing too is it would free up staff and the board from having to call the county to fix certain, or utilities to fix certain issues. It could be addressed and fixed by a public works kind of department or committee. With that said, like I said, you already have two components that do amount to sort of public works, and that's, like I said, Ivy Beautiful and Compost Collective. I think having something to do with infrastructure in the area would be definitely very beneficial. And another thing too is that we have to look at is, as it stands right now, for issues like abandoned bikes or things like that, we are, I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't want to use the word beholden, but we're dependent on the county. Gary Smart, great person to deal with, but he handles all the Santa Barbara County. And that's a big chunk of land. If there was something in the community itself that could handle minor issues, I think there's an old saying that says if we all cleaned our front porch, the world would be a cleaner place. I think we can do that. I believe that maybe the implementation of some sort of a public works type committee, department, project would definitely be beneficial to the community. So that's just my 2 cents. Thank you for your time and Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you for those comments and Happy New Year to you. Are there any other public comments at this time? Director
I
Brand.
just had a quick question based on the public comment. What's the status of the abandoned bike group? I know you've updated us a couple of times on the collaboration with the county on that.
It was done in the summer. 188 bikes were removed.
Thanks.
if I may add something to that, more showing up again. In fact, you have a huge buildup right over here on the rack right outside, including a gas-powered scooter that is not registered, insured, or licensed, which is, it falls under Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office jurisdiction. But, you know, the thing is that they are starting to show up again, so.
All right. This time I see no further public comment, so I'll move on to our discussion and action items. We have item 4.1, the general manager agreement amendment number 1.
So this is what the board had worked on with our legal counsel back in June of last year, but it's just now coming to the board for approval. So it's just setting in place the timeline for my review. And it also has a attached memo on best practices for performance reviews. That was from our management consultant. We were expecting that a year and 3 months ago, but we still got it, so decided why not give it.
So we were originally expecting the memo before your last review.
We were expecting it in like November of 2022.
Got it.
I finally got it, so.
I'm very glad that we have it now. Are there any board questions at this time? Director Freeman.
Verify, I understand that the change is half a sentence.
It's half a sentence. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's what the board had
Okay.
given direction to Jamie to do. Jamie's on the call.
Okay, I just wanted to make certain that with the lead up, that this was something that we've been waiting on for many, many months, that I did not misunderstand, and in
No.
fact, there was an entire sheet of paper that I
No.
did not see. Okay. All right.
And to be specific, it's that 2.0 continuing effect, or is it the, okay, 6.2?
Yeah, it's on or before the first regular board meeting of April is when the evaluation will happen.
Got it. Thank you. Director Brand.
So I support the contract amendment, but I'm just looking at the memo. Is it not loading, or is it just the one page?
It's just the one page.
Okay.
I think what happened was they meant to send it to us, but the company had gotten bought and switched hands, and then it just got lost. So that's what I was told.
Okay.
All right.
I'll move approval.
All right. Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any public comment on this motion? I see no public comment on this motion. I'll now go to a vote. All directors who are in favor of this motion, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no. And this motion passes 6-0-0-1. Now I'd like to move on to item 4.2, our CARB grant agreement amendment number 1.
This is just the, we've already discussed this, but their CARB is extending the grant term so that we can finish the project for the mobility plan. So that's all this is doing.
Yes.
Could I just ask a question? I noticed that there is language in there about interest that we might earn on their funds. And do we have that situation occurring where we get a prepay and we have it in an interest-bearing account?
We didn't do prepay with them, so we're doing reimbursement, but I can check on it.
Well, I wouldn't
Yeah.
think we would have interest if we're not getting prepaid funds.
Yeah, no, we're not. We could have signed up for it, but we didn't. It was more
Just
red
interested.
tape to sign up for. So,
No
yeah.
doubt. Well, it's very nice that we got the time extension.
Yes,
Very nice.
yeah, we're all caught up with them on
Yeah,
reimbursements
no,
too.
thank you so much for negotiating that for us.
It all worked out. And we had our first kickoff meeting with Dixon today on, we're finishing the project. We have a pretty good timeline on getting it done for this deadline. So.
All right, are there any other questions from the board on this item? Are there any comments from the board on this item? Director Brandt.
I'll move to adopt the agreement.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have the motion by Brandt and the second by Topliff. Is there any public comment on this motion? I see no public comments, so I'll go to a vote. All directors who are in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. And this motion passes 6-0-0-1. Awesome, everyone. We're moving so fast. Now we will move on to our organizational session. We have item 5.1, board committee selection.
Okay, so we delayed this item from the last meeting for good reason, but let me share my screen so that you all can see it up here. These are what the committees were as of December 2023. And so you all can, I think the ad hoc committees are in motion, so we probably shouldn't change those too much. Like the work is currently being done, but the standing committees are here for you guys to decide if anybody wants to switch off or join. And you can only have 3 max on any of them. But for the parking, we have 2 max on purpose because Director Deschler is also working on the project in her role as UCSB. So for Brown Act reasons, it was safer to just have 2.
All right, thank you for that clarification. Are there any board members who want to comment or share their interest or disdain for committee that want to leave, or anything like that?
Disdain.
Maybe someone hates meeting on every Tuesday. I don't know. Director
Well,
Freeman.
first of all, I think it's worth pointing out that one of the big reasons why we had pushed this was to make certain that that last name Schultz.
Had an opportunity
Be here
to
today
serve.
in order to actually express any interest that you might have.
I would be interested in being on any of the standing committees with the caveat that I have no doubt everyone is doing a fantastic job, and I am also on several ad hoc committees. So if anyone wants to switch off, I'm more than happy to do that. But I also have no particular specific, I really like the ad hoc that I'm on.
Are you trying to get more work? Is that?
I can share that the policy committee at least meets on the Tuesday in between the board meetings, so the 3rd Tuesday. That one we have a set time. Finance committee is usually on Monday evenings, but we can always change that. And then the parking committee is on the other Tuesday, the 1st Tuesday. So there is technically a meeting every Tuesday of the month unless there's 5. Legislative committee hasn't met.
I actually do have a question. I thought when we adjusted this in November, I was put on the legislative committee.
I do kind of remember that conversation, but I know for sure that committee has not met.
Yeah.
More
I
important.
figure it's not particularly relevant given it hasn't met, but I was just curious.
Yeah. I kind of remember that conversation, but I don't remember necessarily taking action.
Yeah, I think it was maybe discussed, but this is the time when we actually change it all.
Yeah.
Okay, then do any of you remember who was the person who?
Who's gonna withdraw?
Yeah.
Looking at the list, I would have expected Director Deschler to volunteer to withdraw.
I think I do kind of remember this conversation now because I think Kirsten may have offered or it had come up. And then the comment was made that she has a lot of experience in that area.
Comment. I was just about to make it.
Okay, there you go. I would be amenable to stepping off if that's what the board wanted. I've been thinking about a way that this group can really, I guess, just become more active because we kind of set it up and haven't done a lot with it. And I feel like a good starting place would just be to schedule just a yearly meeting with our state legislators, particularly since we were formed by an act of the state, and Senator Lamone in particular, when she was in the assembly, carried legislation for us to adjust our charter. So it might be nice just to meet with them once a year and just update them on our goings on. I know that there would be interest from Assemblyman Hart too, I think, in working with us. So irrespective of how we set it up, I just want to throw as a way to give this group something, sort of a more direction.
And if I can mention, I think the time it was brought up was we had a legislation to be endorsed in the fall.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an actual board agenda item to reorganize the committees, but it was just brought up that we were endorsing legislation. Who's on the legislative committee, and do we want to change that? It was for the ACA on the taxes.
So, yeah, you wrote this down.
Well, I am definitely very interested in the legislative committee, mostly because we haven't met yet, but knowing that policy committee meets pretty regularly, I have fun in policy committee. It's a great time. But I would be willing to step off of that one to share some space with Director Scholes. Yeah. I do, yeah, I will say I do want to stay on legislative committee though, just for the experience and to learn more and to like take advantage of that unique kind of presence that we have. Yes.
At this time, I'm comfortable staying on the 2 ad hocs and IVC, just because I know that the festival ad hoc is about to get a lot more frequent in our meetings.
Of course, yes. So right now, I'm not
Nobody
seeing
moving.
any changes that are unanimous or super desirable for more than one person. Yeah. All right. I see consensus. So I'm gonna say that we should keep our current committee structure. Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for that healthy discussion. And now we will move on to item 5.2, organizational meeting for 2025.
So this is something we talked about at the last meeting in terms of setting our next organizational meeting date. Instead of having it be in December, we couldn't do December 3rd, which is the last meeting of 2024, because it'll be before the new board members are sworn into office, which happens on December 6th. So the next meeting after that would be January 14th, 2025. So just know that, there could be a gap in terms of, board members step off, and we just might not have, people in place for things, but it should be okay.
It would only be those couple of weeks though that there would not be.
Yeah, just it'll be about 6 to 7 weeks or 5 weeks.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see. Dr. Freeman.
Right now, I feel like I didn't understand something. There's gonna be 6 to 7 weeks during which time something isn't, we're not gonna have something?
Like if people step off, they'll be in, like board members will
Oh,
be
of
in.
course. Somehow it never occurred to me that we don't just get new people, we also lose old people.
Yeah.
That's how that works. We replace people. It's not
Yeah.
just.
So that, like the 2025 January.
Now I
14th
understand
meeting
why
will be-
people even ever tried to put it closer to the election. I honestly, at the last meeting, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, it's for like swearing in and election of
Okay.
officers and everything.
Okay, all right. I'm now neutral on this. Last time I was strongly in favor of moving it to January.
I mean, considering that the election could make there be gaps in our board at that time. So far, my experience is that we haven't had that much urgent business in the months of December. It's usually this organizational moment that is the most urgent and the most like meaty things that happen in December months. Do you remember anything differently, Director Brandt, your time as president?
I think that's accurate.
Sometimes there's bills to pay, but those aren't, we've been better lately at making sure we have our bills lined up for approval every year.
So what, the calendar for 2024, what date does the first meeting of the month fall on?
There's only one meeting in December on the 3rd,
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, I just mean the one meeting in December, it's on the 3rd.
because that's the one before finals.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think, I mean, the reason that I supported this when we talked about it last week is to avoid having the organizational meeting during finals week or during the week after finals week when board members might have to be remote. So I still support it for that reason. And, you know, some years, depending on how speedy the elections office is, could end up with a certified election on December 3rd or before that first meeting of December 1st, not first, only meeting in December, at which time people could be sworn in then.
I think it's the first Friday of December when people take office, so that would be December 6th.
Okay.
So that your terms, if like Director Schultz, Craig, and Aguilar, your terms end on December 6th.
Got it. And so, yeah, so the question was if somebody was certified to have won the election, they wouldn't officially take ownership until the 6th, even if they knew that.
The 6th at noon, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I would just say this is how a lot of cities and the county board of supervisors does it with organizational in January as part of the new year. So
Yeah, I'm still in support of it like this. Are there any other questions or comments?
Yeah, and you don't have to have a swearing in ceremony to take action. Like if there was an emergency on December 10th, we could call a special meeting and the new board members, if there were any, could step in and take action. So it's a ceremony. It's not like officially when you take office.
All right. Do we need a motion for this? Yeah. Okay. Is there a motion on this item?
I'll second.
All right. We have the motion by Topliff and the second by Brandt. Is there any public comment on this motion? I see no public comment on this motion. We'll now go to a vote. All directors who are in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. And this motion passes 6-0-0-1. Now we'll move on to our 6th section, our reports. We have reports from members of the board. Are any reports from board members that would like to share?
What a quiet month.
Yeah.
Literally very quiet.
Yes, very enjoyable, quiet IV. Now I'll move to our second report, reports from standing and ad hoc committees. I'll report that the parking committee, we did not have our December meeting and we have postponed our January meeting, but there isn't any urgent updates I need to share. So you will find us again for February, correct?
Yeah. Oh, we'll hope if we can get a January meeting scheduled would be helpful, but it's not a huge deal. But we do have a lot of new updates on Dixon, like the survey results and the existing conditions report. To get your feedback sooner would be good, so revisions can be.
Okay. Well, we can do a January meeting then for all public interested as well. Are there any other reports from standing and ad hoc committees? All right, now I'll move on to our report from District Council.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Sorry that I am not there today, but I will be there the second meeting of the month. But no, I don't have anything to report.
All right, thank you very much. And now report from our general manager and staff.
All right, so first thing on, I've been on vacation for almost the entire time since the last board meeting, but things I can report on are the parking study survey closed last week, and we received the existing conditions report draft from Dixon last week as well. It's looking really good. We have to make any revisions that we would want to see on it, and I'll send it to the board. But I'm feeling confident about how it looks at this point. And we had the kickoff today for the mobility plan. They've already been working on it, but they started working while I was away. But today we had the kickoff with me and Maya to plan out the work and get all that organized. That I'm also feeling very confident about that. They've done more work in some sense than the previous consultant in just a month. In terms of community engagement, one thing we did new this year during the winter time is we did an outreach campaign for people in the Santa Barbara area to come shop in Isla Vista. That seemed to be really successful. The businesses had requested it from us. And so we did a gift card giveaway to Isla Vista businesses if people promoted our posts on social media. So that was really great. And then we just launched this week our See Click Fix campaign. So to encourage people to download the app and submit reports. We already got more reports in the last few days than like we ever usually get. So that's nice. That's nice that
What you wish for, huh?
exactly. Gift cards do help. For the compost collective, we've continued to make more sales. So AgriTurf has bought some, bulk amount of product to sell on the shelves, and the marketing coordinator is now on board. So that person's been hired and is officially now starting. IV Safe, I had mentioned it was going to be February 1st, but we had to move it to February 16th, and just to ensure that the sheriff's department and the supervisor's office could be there. So that's the new date, and we also now have dates for most of the rest of the year outlined for IV Safe as well. We have been working more on promoting our interpersonal violence investigator. So Maya has been working on getting our website fleshed out so that we could have more clear information on what the services are for interpersonal violence survivors, and they can access that on our website now. We're continuing to work on the gate project. It's going good, but it's just now grown in scope in terms of the cost needs. So we'll bring that back to the board pretty soon to update you on what that looks like and see if it's still something you want to invest in. Essentially, the growth in scope has been, we need to run electricity to the location of the gate, and just digging and running that is just going to cost a lot of money. But things are at least moving along. We're going through the county process. We're getting the permits. All that at least is moving forward. Trying to see what else we have. We're also working, the counties, we've had some better responses from the county recently. So we're working with them too on the community center garden project, and we're meeting soon about the solar parking lot proposal that they had made to us. So we're moving forward on a good number of things in terms of our tenancy with the county and improving this area. Besides that, I don't have a lot else to report. A lot of catch up was being done, and our staff did a lot of work over the last month in terms of just getting things organized, cleaning up. We have our office reorganized, we have our garage reorganized. So we're just getting settled and starting the new year off strong.
Would you mind repeating the date of the IV Safe meeting in February?
It's February 16th.
Thanks.
On a Friday from 12 to 2 for lunch. Oh, and I failed to mention one last thing. We did have our family focus group last night. It was a hybrid meeting. Local residents were here, and the Dixon team was on Zoom. We had a great turnout, 5 parents, 3 teenagers, and then the kids were here too. So somebody won the toy Mercedes, like you can ride in it and drive it. But we also had great feedback from the people who attended, and we had an interpreter, and everybody who attended was speaking Spanish, and our team was speaking English, but it all worked out really well. And we got some good conversations on parking with our family community.
Awesome, that's great to hear. Are there?
Could I also just ask you for a little bit more about the solar car park meeting? Has it actually been scheduled?
It's supposed to be February 1st, I think. I just got the email today from the county asking to set it up. So.
And do you know who from the county is planning to attend?
Skip Gray, who's the assistant director for general services. And they just hired somebody new to run the real property division.
I just met that person.
Okay, so
yeah.
Jeff will be there.
And do you want me to come too?
Yeah, I think if our property.
I can't. I'm sorry. I'm out of town on February 1st.
It's okay. I can ask them for the 8th. They offered that as another option. And if our real property team wants to come, I was going to send you an invite once we settled on a time with it.
I could come on the 8th
Okay, I'll ask them for the 8th.
if you'd like me there.
Yeah, that'd be great. And one thing I also want to let you all know about is January 18th is the next IV Community Network meeting. It's at noon in person at the community center. So we got those going again. We're helping get IVCN restarted, and we're hosting it in person now instead of over Zoom. Well, this month's meeting.
So we're gonna be busy.
We're busy. Yeah.
You said the 18th.
Yeah, next Thursday.
On the note of the 1st and 8th, you didn't specify a time, but LAFCO is on the 1st, so I wouldn't be able to make the 1st
So the 8th.
potentially either.
Okay,
8th is okay.
great. They emailed about both dates, so right before this meeting.
All right. Are there any other board questions at this time? Thank you for that report. I will now move on to our 7th item, our future meeting dates and future agenda items. Are there any future agenda items that directors would like to see or add to our growing list?
I can mention some that are upcoming. So the county planning department reached out about doing a bluff erosion meeting, a presentation on bluff erosion at one of our meetings. It looks like they might not be able to do it during one of our regular board meeting times. So we might have to have a special meeting if we wanted to have that presentation. At the 23rd, we're going to have the options for library governance agenda item that we weren't able to have in December. And so we've got the county and Goleta confirmed for that one. And then the board had asked, once the LAFCO process for the lighting, parking, transportation area concludes, which will be this Thursday, to bring an update on that. So we'll bring an update to the board on that. And then next meeting on the 23rd, we'll be kicking off our budget process like we usually do at the end of January. So look forward to that, the timeline and the mid-year financial update. And those are at least the ones I have for sure that are substantive coming up.
All right. Well, thank you for that information.
Well, it seems like there's a lot of interest in the town about the whole bluff erosion and what the county's doing and the monitoring the properties and so forth. So it seems like maybe, a special meeting that's a town hall and really publicize it in the community might be a good idea.
We can do that. Yeah, and because the county prefers it not be on a Tuesday because of the Board of Supervisors meeting. So we can figure out another date and make a thing of it.
It seems to me like that would be very valuable to the community.
I agree. It would be very valuable. We have our King Tides in California starting tomorrow night,
Oh
Thursday.
man, I thought we just got slammed by them. It's more, huh? More.
Just the time of the year where the moon does that. But yeah, no, the actual King Tides will be this coming Thursday morning. Be like a 7 point something. I sent a video to Jonathan a couple months ago of like, this is what a 5 foot tide looks like here at Mallorca. So we should be kind of aware. So I do think it's a very important conversation that we should have with our community.
And we certainly had a lot of questions that, nobody we happen to be talking to at the moment had answers for.
Mhm.
So I think that it would be good to really open it up.
Yeah, and I've gotten some press inquiries on what's going on with the bluffs. So that makes sense, having a dedicated meeting for it.
Dr. Freeman.
Which I reminded of this conversation, I was also gonna bring up, is that Margot Lovely from the Santa Barbara Independent
Yeah.
is asking a bunch of questions that I'm probably not the best person to answer, because that's not the thing that I am
I got them.
great, yeah, so, but if any other board members are trying to reach out to, or would be interested in talking to such a
What's
person,
the
it's
subject?
mlovely@ucsb.edu, lovely as in, it's such a lovely day today, mlovely@ucsb.edu.
And what are the questions? What's the
What-
topic?
How does erosion look from your point of view? Do you see
erosion.
imminent danger to
It's a lot of
students?
talking.
What do regulations look like moving forward? Lots of questions.
Lots of
Yeah.
questions, yeah. Some of them we might get answered at this presentation.
All right. Well, we have lots to look forward to in January and in February.
Nice summary, Marcus.
Yes, so the next regular meeting of the Board of Directors will take place on January 23rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. on Zoom and at the Community Room 970 in Barcadero, Del Mar, Isla Vista, California. This meeting is now adjourned.
We will need
I
to
think
do
this-
policy
that's like
committee
the
next.
Record time.
IVCSD, that was never had.
Don't just close the laptop.
37 minutes.
30.
That's
We started at
wild.
5, right?
I sent you guys
Yeah.
six
6:05
crackers
and
that
it's
Bell made
42
to
Oh,
the
yeah.
meeting